Alright, I'm back. I have a face. I don't actually know if I'm going to play with the face cam too much. I might keep up with it, I might not. I got display capture on. I should have display capture on. Okay, there we go. Mainly, facecam's a bit of an experiment. What I'm going to do is probably include in a number of videos, especially, like, not as important series. Indie Game Lightning Round, Grim Dawn, mainly just because this game has been out for forever. And just, like, a couple other, like, little things here and there. And we'll see what people really have to say about this. And I'll probably roll a poll sooner than later, just to see how that goes. Anyway, oh, hey! Thank you, Drunken Legends, for the 12-month resub. Thank you so much. Let's see, so what were we going to do? I guess just kind of whatever. Find the Warden's Laboratory. Okay, so we were right at the end of the chapter. There we go, that's what we were doing. I still never could find the Foggy Bank. I'll have to go looking for that later. Warden's Cellar Rift. I assume that's the right location. Okay, let's see. But yeah, I'll probably just put a poll up on YouTube and Discord and be like, face cam? No face cam. And we'll just figure it out. Okay, let's see. So, one thing I was going to say, okay, Gloomwald looks pretty foggy on the map. Show twice, but I don't know. Distractions. Anywho, so before I actually hit record and talked about face cam, I was talking about another thing that I've been kind of doing lately, which is a lot of indie game lightning round stuff, which I think is really fun. I've seriously been enjoying having the ability to sit down and record whole bunches of, like, new interesting indie games that I would normally have a little bit of trouble covering with, like, my old style. My old style mainly just being finish as many games as possible, which I think still was not a bad idea. I think that was an okay style to work with. I think the main problem with it was just, like, a lot of people don't actually want to watch, like, games to the end, and I don't really want to play a whole lot of games to the end. There are some games that are absolutely worth sticking around for. Grim Dawn's obviously one that I'm super down for and want to play more of. We're going to go up here. Let's go check out the ancient Aether Warp Totem as we go by here. Let's see. But, let's see. Games that I'd like to finish and not finish. There's just a lot of games out there that kind of fall flat after 5, 10, 15, even like 30 hours for certain games. So, like, I still haven't finished, Dragon Quest XI yet. I'd like to, but it's just kind of one of those that got stale. And it's like, I want to finish it just so I have the story done, but I don't actually, like, care to really put in the effort. It's almost tempting to put up all the episodes I filmed as, like, super long things, and just leave it as a playlist that people can watch if they want to, without ever even putting the episodes online. Or, like, public online. And just saying, like, it's good enough. I'd have to tell people it exists. Because, yeah, had I been not a lazy bones, let's see, I don't remember. Okay, it's Q? Nope, it's not Q. It's R. There we go. I forgot how to play momentarily. Holy shit. This is a bit much. And they're stunning the shit out of me. Alright, have Molotov. We'll travel. Because I'm out of combat for a little bit, I can get my maximum HP bar up a little bit, which is good. Oh, that's where you are. Okay. Yeah, I do a bunch of damage. I just have to not be mobbed by big dudes. That was loud.
I can't carry anymore.
That is... Okay, that's a bit loud. These better? Or, no, none of this stuff is actually good for me, I think. There's still, like, a runestone slot. What about guns? No, that's worse. With fabric, what about other guns? Worse, worse. Be equipped. But we wouldn't have the lightning bolt. And the lightning bolt in and of itself is actually really good. So I guess let's level up a little bit. Let's see. I think I was rushing to... one-handed melee. So neither of these are that good. Increase that. Go for Fanatic Strike. Go for Agonizing Flames. Or go back to Inquisitor for a bit. I was liking Bursting Round. I got 6 points to put into it. Yeah, let's just go nuts. Big meter radius. Okay. Oh, I see. I'm going to leave it at that for the time being. We just want a higher chance of it to proc, more than anything else. And start going for chilling rounds, I think. That seems reasonable. Let's see. I checked to see if I have mods for more devotion points. I think it didn't work. We should probably go mess with that, actually, and see if I can get the mods working. Because mods will improve the experience.
I'll give you a good price on what I've got left.
Mods almost always improve the experience, and if they don't, oh well. Oh, 32 damage retaliation. That's slightly better. Acolyte's Cord. Hey. Is it better, though? Let's do to raise skeletons. Yeah, it's better. Okay. So, it looks like one way or another, I'm not going to be able to do it. Let's see, and my portal is gone. Well, time to go do that again. Things. Yeah, so mods are actually not functional. Apparently you have to start the game as a custom game. I didn't realize this, and whoops. So, I guess we're just going to play this true vanilla. I understand why they have the mod set up that way, but it kind of sucks from my perspective, because now I'm, like, a little bit in. What I might be able to do is actually, like, hacks a character to have all this stuff done. But I don't want to do that live. That's a time investment that I could spend off camera. I mean, hell, I could even load the game up just off camera and play it that way. I just don't want to start over again while streaming, because I have a little bit more free time right now than I have voice, I guess, and it would be better for me to specifically just hold off on it and yeah, do it off stream, off camera. Catch back up to where I am. Same general build. And then you know, save my voice a little bit of extra pressure of re-recording a thing I've already done. Because generally I'd prefer to not re-record stuff if I can avoid it. I did that with Wolson, and I definitely got a lot of complaints being like, wonder why? And I'm like, bleh. Alright, time to fight these guys again. Well, at least we get the loot again, which is good. Okay, time to run away from the giant, super fast horror monsters. Enjoy fire, jerks. I'm very slow. It's a bit of a problem. Yeah, as long as I'm not getting, like, absolutely beasted by all of these guys simultaneously, I think we're good. That's Wonder, you might also be able to copy and paste your save file. Yeah, I'll look into that. One way or another, it doesn't matter too much to me. Like, if it works, awesome. If it doesn't work, awesome. Like, I'll be okay. I can also just, like, hack a little bit of skill points or, who knows what else. Like, there's a billion different things that you can do. And I'm perfectly comfortable with messing with that on my own later. Yeah, if character transfer doesn't work, cheat engine will. Yup. That's where I'm at. But right now, I just want to play this game. Hello. Wow. Hi. These are things? There's a lot of greens. Damn. Hi. Okay. That's better. Let's see. We do lose Ring of Steel, but extra physical damage, yeah, that's probably just better. Maybe? We lose Ring of Steel. We lose a little bit of HP. We gain not actual a whole lot of extra. No, so that isn't as worth it. I need a book. That is a neat shield that I have no use for. Okay. Did all my equipment scale up? I think it might have. Okay, so that's bonus to pets. We don't need that. What about the rest of this stuff? There's so much to suddenly just have to... that I have to just look at. Not for long, mind you, which is good. But I do have to look at it. Blueprint, Storm's Edge, that's an axe. It was the Dementia's book. Okay. I think that's the end of it. I guess there's that, but we don't need that as much. Oh, can I just slap that onto a piece of armor? Neat. And how am I doing? More on cutting. Okay, we're good. So what's the color ranking order in this game? White, yellow, green, blue? I think that's the case. I could be wrong. That was a hell of a lot of loot. I think it's part of the reason why I'm not, like, immediately as passionate about modding this one is... Grim Dawn is one of the few Diablo-likes I've played that, like, playing it pure doesn't feel weird. Bad? Like, I don't know how to describe it, but, like, playing Torchlight nowadays is just kind of boring. No. I guess a lot of Diablo-likes are good. It's one of the few games that I've just loaded up and, like, I'm perfectly fine with it as it is, without mods. Mods would just be a slight boon as opposed to anything else. Whereas Skyrim, for example, I pretty much would never have any inclination to play Skyrim on its own. I just don't think I'd enjoy it. Okay, I'm just gonna leave that with him. This guy's shooting me in the butt, and I don't like that. Where'd you all come from? I have no idea. Alright, it's fine. But there's purple equipment that's even further in. Enjoy that. Okay, anything else here? No, we're good. Okay, on files. Seems like the standard game files need to be put in folders, same location, with a mod as its name. Okay. Well, we could toy with it. Here, let's finish this boss first, though. I think the biggest problem is I keep redoing this area, and that's making me a bit annoyed. And then I'll play with mods. Because, yeah, I would like to actually play with him. Even if I'm saying I'm satisfied. I'm not. I'm never satisfied. I always want more. I'm a greedy individual, and I like cool things. And if I could get it with, like, minimal extra effort, I'll do it. Okay, white, yellow, green, blue, purple. Thought so. I wonder why they decided to buck against the usual trend. Because I know Diablo and, like, World of Warcraft and associated other things have very established... One second. Very established color coding. Oh, hey. Well, I guess we can go back to town and mess with modding. Hey. But there's, like, a really heavy...
left of my wares.
There's a really heavy standard for, like... I'm just gonna get rid of these. It would be neat to save it up for another character. I just don't think it matters. Ooh. Oh.
Iron well spent.
So is this something that I specifically apply to a gun? It is. I'm gonna wait until we get a slightly better weapon. Maybe, probably. Okay, so we're gonna... Modding! Inch by inch, I get closer to playing this game. Modding will continue to not work until morale improves. Hi! I don't remember the welcoming party, but... when in doubt. Toss Molotovs, figured out. Luckily, the Burning Dead don't seem particularly fireproof. Maybe they are. I'll have to play with that. I do have a lot of other lightning and associated other abilities. Wow, that's effective. Turns out just going full-on Molotov Man, actually really dangerous. Unsurprisingly. Let's see. Hello, Zambos. Enjoy fire. Yeah, so it does damage to them. Maybe not as much. Doesn't matter in the long run. So where are the ricochet bullets on the Inquisitor? Because that's something I should probably be looking for a little bit harder. Because I feel like the ricochet bullets would be something cool. It was something I really wanted to try in Wolcen, but I didn't get around to. There was a heavy projectile build that you could do that made it so your shots would reflect from, like, one person to the next. And, you know, summarily kind of amazing. But from my experience, not the game. Not this game, at least not yet. And also wasn't worth it in Wolcen. The problem with that game was purely just like the actual meat grinding through mobs wasn't too bad, but the bosses were just hell, which is a little rough. Keep rotating my camera. Gotta remember to not do that. This game seems interesting and is reminiscent of Path of Exile. I mean, they're both Diablo-likes. It's really interesting how Path of Exile is completely supplanting Diablo as, like, a source game, if that makes sense. Have there been any other games that are like that? Where the objectively better version, or the, like, a derivative game ends up being the source game? I guess Metroidvania, but not really? I'm trying to think about that one. Because Doom was wait, no. Was Doom or Wolfenstein one of the first FPSs, I guess? League of Legends with Dota? Yeah. Yeah, I guess that would be it. Except for both of those became kind of I mean, they became known as, MOBAs. Bye. See you later, jerks. Yeah, Wolfenstein came out first. I mean, truly, Wolfenstein and Doom were made by the same thing. But yeah, I guess Wolfenstein would kind of be the closest. Sort of. Ooh, Gunslinger's Jacket. Which, if I remember right, actually gives you default dual wielding. Let's see, let's get all these sweet bits. Okay, now some of these look cool. Gunslinger's Jacket. So, dual wielding passive bonus. And the Guardsman's Helm. Extra physical damage, physique, health, elemental resistance. Damn! That's some stuff. That's amazing. Not sure if that's that useful. No, what else do we have? Any new guns? We've got a couple of two-handers, but... Oh, wait, no. This is a rare one-handed range. What? No, it's not. I was looking at the wrong thing. I was like, what? But no, I was looking at my Skyfall and Iron Repeater. It's like, there's no way that's a one-hander. And I was right. So no guns. Let's see. Required physique, pretty high. Pretty high. I could put like 8 points into it. I don't think it's gonna help me too much though. What's that? Crimson Heart. Epic Metal. Ooh. Alright. Onwards and wherever. So yeah, Wolfenstein released May 5th, 1992. Doom, December 10th, 1993. Gotcha. Because I know Doom supplanted Wolfenstein when people were discussing it, and people were calling them Doom-likes for a while, up until first-person shooter became the accepted genre. But, like, it really does mildly feel like Path of Exile might end up being remembered for longer. And Diablo? Nah, that can't. Well, really depends on you, Blizzard. Really depends on you. Poor Blizzard. Like, I have to feel a little bit of pity for Blizzard. That, like, I gotta wonder sometimes, is there an alternate reality where Blizzard absolutely figured its stuff out much earlier in the process and was able to truly capitalize on a lot of the, like, custom game modes and other stuff and, you know, managed to snag, League of Legends, or Dota 2, effectively. Also, poor Blizzard that became leached by Activision. Yeah, I mean, that's the real answer here, but, like, you gotta wonder what would have happened if they just truly had just embraced the indie games that were being spawned on their own platform and, like, just funded them, pulled a Valve. What if Blizzard had pulled a Valve and just been like, that looks like a neat thing. Here's some money. Let's see, is Diablo Immortal out yet? I have no idea, and I don't know if I give a shit. Diablo 4 will be a roller coaster for sure. And, like, I hope for Blizzard's sake that they manage to pull it off. I mean, Overwatch, I think, is still a good game and people respect it. I know Hearthstone's getting to the point where it's a little divisive, but I think that's just because the game's been around for forever, and it's really hard to balance PvP games. Damn, this Molotov cocktail rules. Let's see. So yeah, not out yet. Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, if I remember right, it's being made by, like, a Chinese developer. It's effectively just a clone of their pre-existing game. And, I mean, considering what we've currently got going on in the world, that might not happen for a while. I've got a couple of friends, this series is not going to be able to avoid talking about coronavirus, no matter what. So I got a couple of friends that specifically have had their jobs impacted by it already, apparently. Lack of distribution and a couple other things. But when I was at Disney, they were actually starting to run out of products. Because almost everything at Disney is made in China. And yeah, they hadn't had a shipment on some of the Star Wars related merch. They still had enough stock, except for, like, the Star Wars specific credit card shit thing. I don't even know how to describe what it is. Shell really wanted one of those, and they're like, yep, we're out, and we're pretty sure we're not going to get any more of them anytime soon. And it's like, that sucks. Yeah, for that to happen, though, Blizzard would have needed much better leadership. I think Valve's development style just went towards jumping on opportunities better. Well, it also helped that Valve has unlimited money. Ish? I can't see Valve running into a whole lot of issues. Nobody has managed to supplant them yet as, like, a market leader. Good Old Games is getting better. Always. I like Good Old Games. They're very nice to me. They were doing a dungeon crawler event that I think might end tomorrow. I should have signed up for it, but in the end, I was just in vacation mode and I had no idea how I was going to be feeling, so I didn't want to sign up for something I could do. I don't like making false promises. It makes me uncomfortable. Let's see, Doom Eternal next month. Anyone interested? Oh, I'm absolutely interested, but that's a no-brainer. I absolutely adored Doom 2016. And Doom Eternal looks like it's going to be better in a lot of ways. Do you have a feeling that Valve would support Good Old Games if there was ever an absolute need? I feel like it might be Humble Bundle. Like, I could see Humble Bundle and Good Old Games merging if one or the other ran into troubles. Either that or, like, THQ Nordic would buy one or the other. That's really what would happen. Man, that would actually probably be a pretty sweet deal for them now that I'm thinking about it.
I can't carry
My
anymore.
inventory is full.
Ah, it's so loud. Okay. Let's see. We don't want any other coats. Yeah, we pretty much don't want any of these things. Okay. So, Inquisitor. That's probably it. That's probably what we want to save up for. Okay, well, let's go back. So yeah, I don't think Steam is ever going to feel the heat from... I'm not even sure if they'd feel the heat from the Epic Games Store.
I'll give you a good price on what I've got left.
I know a lot of people... I don't know what that dude's shooting at. Magic offhand. I want that. I don't know. I know a lot of people that get really up in arms about the Epic Games Store as a platform. But I'll admit, I'm still kind of a fan. You don't see a whole lot of developers, publishers,
Put it to good use.
storefronts that are going out of their way specifically to support development. Like, I like Steam, but I feel like they could probably lend some money to more... to some more developers along the way. Ish. I guess it kind of depends on your perspective, but I've seen a lot of games that, like, need funding and can't get it unless they, like, tie themselves to bad publishers or something like that, and for better or worse, Epic has at least been a pretty good incubator for, like, neat-looking indie games, and I played a game yesterday called Foregone.
See anything you like?
Do we even sell those? Nah, we'll just use one. Full resistance, lightning resistance. I think that's going to be more useful. But that, like, little bit of extra cash infusion means they'll be able to make a better game. And then after about a year on Epic, then they transfer over to Steam, which gets them X amount more popularity. It's good marketing, I guess, to release on one platform, then the next, oddly enough. This is probably back-end business things that most people probably do not want to hear about, but I find it fascinating, because it means a lot to me and a lot of developers, but there's a phrase that you only release on Steam twice. The first time when you, when you release your game in early access, and the second when you release fully. And if you skip the early access phase, you lose one of those launches. And for better or worse, by releasing on one platform than the next, you actually have this kind of, like... You get your name out there on one platform, and then the next, and then the next. And so if you really wanted to do it, you do it what Supergiant did with Hades, where you specifically release on early access on Epic, then stay in early access for a year, then release on Steam while still being in early access, and then at some point you get a 1.0 release. And you get 3 releases. I don't actually know if it's a good idea, and I don't know if it's going to help them as much. But it's a good way of staying market relevant, where most games, you know, are forgotten. Take Kunai, for example. Chances are no one's ever going to hear about Kunai again, unless there's some kind of crazy sale or an update or a DLC. And even then, those are generally hard to market. And there's a couple of games that really can manage to make their updates special. Grim Dawn is actually one of them. It was one of those games where I always knew when a DLC was going to come out, even though I generally had no inclination to cover them at the time. Oh, we should probably heal. I'm taking some damage. But there's a lot of other games that I straight up just like, DLC is coming out. The only way I know is if a PR person contacts me. And even then, it's kind of inconvenient. Okay. Don't actually know where I'm going. I don't have a problem with the idea of the Epic Games Store, I just don't like the idea of exclusives, and I heard there have been some issues. I don't like the idea of exclusives, but I'm fine with timed exclusives, because then it really is just like, well, are you willing to wait? And the nice part is, I don't know, most people do not need to buy games on launch. Unless, like, you're super freaking into, getting like certain games on the bleeding edge. If you wait for like a year, chances are you're gonna get a 6 sale. And if there's any launch problems with it, then you pretty much don't have to worry about it. What's a good example? Let's say Temtem, for example. That game had some problems. Wolcen had some problems when it launched 1.0 or blah blah blah. And like they were in a rough state when they first came out, and so by actually having this like on a testbed platform instead first, you get at least a little bit more of a buffer. Because the moment you go on Steam, especially if you're an online game, you better be ready to support up to 100,000 people. Otherwise, it's going to be bad. Because, like, if Dauntless ever released on Steam, for example, 1, I'd probably go back to playing it. And 2, their servers would get absolutely buried. Let's see. Now, a little bit... there are definitely some, like, situations that have happened recently that actually do stand out as, like, kind of scummy. Luckily, it hasn't happened as much recently, but Metro Exodus, the way they handled that was super garbage. Same thing with, oh, shoot. What's the Japanese, like, it's like the Proto-Yakuza, but like games that were absolutely like queued up and even had pre-orders for Steam or something like that, like then going Epic exclusive is super shitty, and it's like, yeah, that's a PR disaster that they should have gotten ahead of way earlier. Shenmue 3, there we go. Yeah, Shenmue 3 was one of those where it's like they did this Kickstarter, got a shit ton of money for some silly reason, and then we're like, yeah, we're going Epic, they're gonna give us some money, and it's like, oh, that was daft. That'd be me going on a huge follow or sub-train or something like that on Twitch, and then immediately being like, and I'm going to Mixer. And it's like, what? No. What? No. Oh, let's see. Inquisitor Creed. I should probably read some of the lore at some point, but eh. Just like Day of Dragons, which released on Steam, but way too early to be ready. Day of Dragons is a separate thing entirely. There's no fixing that product. I will be absolutely gobsmacked if it turns out to be a good game in 3 years. It could happen. I am honestly not betting on it, though. I don't know how many of you guys follow that specifically, but effectively, super popular Kickstarter, goes viral, gets shit tons of money, and the main developer doesn't even know how to program. He's just putting together modules, which is not a good place to have, like, as far as a main developer goes, especially if he's not hiring other people. I have other opinions, but I remember seeing that one go through and being like, this just looks like a scam, and everybody's like, no, it's not, it looks amazing, and I'm like, alright, good luck. I wish Steam would step in a little bit and curate its platform better. I think that's one of the biggest beefs I do have with Steam, is that, like, I have no idea what's on the platform anymore. Like, there's like 20, 30, 50 games that come out on a given daily basis, and like, boy howdy, half of them are trash. Half of them are non-functional, and like, there's a small list of games that Steam has actually removed from the platform, but I feel like they should have a bit of a cutoff point where they're just like, no, this really does just belong on GameJolt or itch.io. Because this... Like, I have pretty low standards when it comes to games that I cover, but there is a cutoff. There's so many cutoffs on, like, what is acceptable and what's not. See, wonder what about Anthem? I honestly have no idea about Anthem. Anthem is one of those games that, like, boy howdy, if they had not just rushed it and just been like, alright, we're in development hell. Let's just sit down, really boil it down into what's good. Maybe replace the leadership with people that seem to know what they're doing and then go from there. Because that was absolutely one of those situations where they're just like, let's rush this out. And boy, that didn't work. I mean, if they pull a Final Fantasy Realm Reborn, like, awesome, but I doubt it. Anthem's been out for what? Almost a year now? Probably not. Well, that's an interesting question. I actually don't know how long Anthem's been out for. It's kind of just a forgotten game. But, like, it's been out for a while, and they just recently said, hey, by the way, we're doing, like, a full redesign. I'm like, yeah, I mean, that's necessary. But they should have announced that, like, instantly and been like, okay, yeah, this is screwed up. Here's the early access version. We're fixing this. February 22nd, 2019. So it has been out for a year. Yeah, remember, it came out while I was living in a hotel, which is part of the reason why I couldn't play it. I had all sorts of tech issues with that game. You know what would have been smart? And I don't think this is a good idea, but I think AAA does need to be a little bit less afraid of the perception of early access when it comes to releasing their games. So, like, I would much rather have them saying, okay, this isn't gonna work. We're not going to be able to make Anthem good. Not with. Wow, that is a very creative death sound. It's a little loud, but that's mostly my fault. Anyway, the smart thing I think EA should have done was actually said, okay, this just is not going to work, period. Like, we're not going to be able to make the game that we want in the time that we have. It's just gonna go bad. And then said, okay, so to fix it, what we're going to do is strip this down to the, like, bare minimum of what is good. You know, really figure out what makes the game tick. And just release that version for everybody to play. And leave all of the extra bits for later. Okay. Did I put the ammo box away? I think I did. Do I want to go use it? Yeah, let's go use it real quick. Let's see, does this game have auto loot? No, but there are mods that handle auto loot. But yeah, baseline Anthem does actually have some good mechanics. It looks good. The exploration was neat. It was just repetitive, and the story was dumb, and it was very busted. I feel like they really could have fixed it. Okay, Lorekeeper is banned. Which is better, though?
I'll keep an eye on this.
Okay, let's close that. We're doing devil-touched ammo on this thing. This is going to do a lot of damage. Okay.
Come see what's left of my wares.
Let's see. Unholy Scription. Nah. Most of this stuff is not super useful. We should probably go put some things away. Let's see. There's also a serrated spike. Doesn't look like Demon's Breath needs to be toggled at least. Okay, anything else? Yeah, let's get rid of the belt.
Iron well spent.
I wonder who needs the fabric. Let's see. Wander, are you interested in the new Magic MMO? Yeah, it's sort of. Isn't it supposed to be actually an ARPG? I vaguely remember it looking kind of like one and being kind of surprised. I will play it 100%, especially if they send it to me, you know, on or around launch. obviously, MMOs are a little hard on me. They're time-consuming, they're a bit grindy, and they tend to be a bit boring in comparison to a game that I can just pick up and play and beat. But I like Magic the Gathering a lot. And so, yeah. Wow, okay. That's a damage uptick. Let's see. But, like, I don't know. I'll play it. I will play anything if it's novel. And I will give them credit, it does look novel. I don't think I've seen anything quite like it. There's supposed to be a beta for it. It's very strange. I'm not a small YouTuber, but it really does feel like I get passed over for a lot of games that I'd actually otherwise put a lot of time and effort into. I don't know. We'll see. I'll probably pick it up. Anyway, I wanted to finish my thought about Anthem before we go too far away from it. Like, if they had boiled Anthem down to just open-world exploration and kind of doled out the story slower and you know, used really heavy player feedback, I think that could have worked. I remember when the beta first came through, and it was like, oh, yeah, this actually is kind of neat. Like, I like this game. It reminds me of Destiny, but with a lot more, like, a lot more exploration and world traversal, and that, like, that alone sounded fun. And then it was like, by the way, this is coming out in, like, 2 weeks. And it's like, no, that's stupid. Why are you releasing it then? It absolutely should have just been held off until, you know, summer or something like that. Like, give it some time. Have an early access version that's, like, you can buy into it, maybe. I mean, effectively sell it without selling it, and effectively say, like, we're just going to be running a lot of these, like, in-progress development tests, you know, release some new dungeons here and there, really get player feedback testing, and just, like, be very open about the fact that, like, it's an unfinished product. Not Slay the Spire. No Man's Sky is actually kind of a good example. People were livid at No Man's Sky, and they put their heads down, knuckled down, and released, like, these big content patches that really made the game considerably better. And at this point, they've actually re-earned, like, a fair bit of goodwill. Like, I think a lot of people still won't forgive them, and to be fair, like, there's a lot of things that they had kind of said marketing the game that is like, yeah, that just never made it in the game. What were you thinking? And so I can kind of understand why people won't, like, you know, instantly just give them a pass. Cripes, this place is huge. But I feel like once that first... What? That's not where I was aiming in the slightest. Once that first couple of, like, major patches came out, it was very much one of those where it's like, oh yeah, this game doesn't suck. What about Subnautica? Subnautica was never really in a rough state, though. Like, if I remember right, when Subnautica came out, people were super down with it. It was just, like, early. I could be wrong. Subnautica is a great game, though. I've heard they're doing, like, a fairly full redesign of, Below Zero? Is it Below Zero or is it Sub-Zero? Below Zero. But, like, I heard they're doing a redesign of that, which I have questions about, but, like, whatever. I trust them. I love their stuff since Natural Selection, the Counter-Strike mod. I used to play that relentlessly. Never got into Natural Selection 2, but I think at that point, I'd lost my taste for competitive games. So I wonder if you played Tor. I have. It's okay. That's high up on Shell's list of games that she would like to play. Maybe do a series on. I'm not really sure. I don't know if I'd specifically record it. It's one of those truly where, like, anytime a game lasts longer than, like, 30, 40 hours, and all MMOs do, it better have something special to keep me interested and everybody else as well. Because normally I find if if I have a particularly long series, people just check out on it after a certain point, and I'm just kind of like, eh.